Hello everyone, and welcome to Judy's Creations in Crochet. And today is May the 9th, 2024. And to anyone that may be new, welcome aboard. I hope you enjoy it. And I'll just tell you that I am coming from southwestern Ontario, the southernmost tip of Canada. And for those of you that come back week after week after week, I just hope you all know how very much you are appreciated. I enjoy talking with you every week, and I really enjoy your comments, and I respond to every single one. So I usually start with what I am wearing, and I'm going to start here again today because this is going to lead me into the topic that I promised you I would discuss a little bit today. So you've seen this a couple of times recently, and I'm actually going to take it off and wear it around me like a shawl because it's very chilly down here. But this is the Subtle Wave shawl that I made for Gary's mood board, the music mood board. And it used two different yarns from Expression Fiber Arts, and I'm going to talk about one of them. The dark blue and the very light creamy one are Mirage Sport. And I've talked about them in the past. But the other ones, this pale blue and the two out here, are Buttery Sport. And I said that I am going to talk about or do a review of two yarns. I'm going to actually do two today, yarns from Expression Fiber Art. So I'm going to wrap this around me simply because it's off, even though it's beautiful outside, it's chilly down here. So this is nice and big, and it's heavier than I usually make, which I'm going to talk about, and therefore a little warmer than some of the shawls that I make. So let's start by talking about this Buttery Sport. And you'll remember that I got this blue along with these two colors in a kit, and these other two colors were also in the kit, and I didn't get to use them. I'm not sure about this color, but I know I will find a way to use this color in the future. Now, Buttery Sport is, as it says, a sport weight. I want to show you. There it is. And I'm not an expert by any means, but to me this is a little heavier sport weight. The Mirage Silk, it's Mirage Sport, that's in here is a wee bit thinner. And this gets, in my estimation, close to a DK. Now, they feel great. They are 100% superwash merino, and there are 300 yards, I think it's 274 meters, 300 yards in one skein. They also make, this is like I said, from Expression Fiber Arts, and I will link to their site down below. I won't necessarily link right to this yarn because I'm going to do another yarn as well. They also make a buttery worsted and a buttery bulky. They don't make a lot of bulkies, but they make a buttery bulky. I guess because it's one of their nicer heavy yarns. I have to tell you, it does feel very nice. And in this, feels very comfy, cozy. The other thing I appreciated when I was working with it, I like like to wait to do a review until after I've worked with a yarn. It did not split in any way. And as you know, being a superwash merino, it is washable, although I would not, myself, I would never throw a handmade item in any machine. I would wash and lay flat to dry. But, oh, I see a little mistake there. Oh well, hopefully nobody else notices it. Anyway, I have to tell you, it was a very, very nice yarn to work with. So if you like something a little heavier, maybe getting their buttery worsted, Shandy always raves about it because it does feel, as she says, buttery. I have to agree, it does feel very, very nice and yummy. And if you like heavier weights, they have this in heavier weight. Now, sport weight is not overly heavy, but when I finished making this, my first thought was, oh, that's much heavier than I'm used to making. I've gotten so used to fingering weight, and it's really become my preferred weight. Now, I would use it again if I wanted something a little heavier like this is. It is nice to work with. And I'm trying to think, I didn't look it up. I think I used a 5mm hook with this. I'm almost positive I used a 5mm hook. So I would definitely recommend, especially for those of you liking heavier weights, I would recommend the Buttery Sport. I did not look up the price of it, and I'm not going to even guess, although I do think it is a little bit less than some of their other yarns. So that's the first review I want to do. I have done a number of other EFA yarns in the past, one of them being the Mirage Sport. In fact, I think it was the very first review I ever did is the Mirage Sport, and it has several different fibers in it that make it a little more expensive than others, but it feels wonderful as well. Now, the other yarn I thought I would do a review on at the same time because I only just finished, let's see if I can get this on me a little more. There. I only just finished this shawl, last month sometime, and this is the Skylight shawl by Rachel Nguyen. And this one was the one where you helped me pick the yarn to finish it off, and it has beads in it. But the yarn I want to talk about is the Crema sock, this yarn in here. Now, let me just put those aside. Forget where I got them from. I think just up there. So, Crema sock, it has a little bit of a silky feel. Now, I went looking for some others because I knew I had more Crema socks somewhere in my stash, and I found this trio, although I'm not sure I'll use the three together. And here are the three that I have that I could show you that aren't busy variegated like this one. And they have a silky look to it. They are definitely, they're not Crema sock. They're, yeah, it says, oh yeah, Crema sock. So that's sort of like a fingering weight. You can see that it's thinner than the last one I showed you. These feel a little more silky. So let's read about them. On the package it says that it is, that's why. It's 70% superwash merino wool and 30% mulberry silk. So it has less silk in it than their pearlescent fingering. That's a 50-50. And these three have a total of 960 meters, which is 320 meters per skein, and that works out to 1050, so that's 350 yards in one of these skeins. Now, when I first bought them, I wasn't terribly impressed, I have to tell you. I don't know, I guess because when I it said silk, it didn't feel like the pearlescent, but actually, working with it really was a pleasure. The other thing is, I think it becomes less, like, to me it felt or looked stringy, but in working with it, it's less stringy. It's like it blossomed to a certain extent, and it has a very nice silky, yes, it has a very nice silky feel to it. I would definitely use it again. The Buttery Sport, I will use what I have, but the chances of my reordering are slim, just because I don't typically make things this heavy. But if I wanted a sport weight, I would definitely order it again. But you know, I like my fingering weights, so this is sock weight, which is like fingering weight, and I have to tell you, it feels very nice, and it blocked out very nice. And in this shawl, I probably would have used a 4mm hook, might have used a 3.5, but I'm thinking I probably used a 4, because this one, which is a arcane fiber, is a little bit heavier, although I may have used 3.5 here and 4 down there. But this Crema sock, and I have it in several other colors. Oh, I can't. Here's a Crema sock. Yep, 320 yards or 320 meters or 350 yards. And I fell in love with that color, and I have this gray, so I am likely going to put those together. And I also have I have a nice, they call it jasmine, I have a nice cream one, and then I have a package of 3 that are in the brown tones. So oh, that's pretty too. They have a lot of pretty choices, and you know, I have kind of avoided Crema sock up to this point, but I'm at the point now where, having used it, I like these 2 colors here together. I really do like it. So I am probably going to get more of it in the future. As you know, I'm trying to lay off buying anything, as I'm trying to shop my stash as much as I possibly can. So I won't be buying some for a while, but at some point I will buy more of it. Now, these are called the Resolute Hues, and it is silky. I do like it, and I think I better put elastic around it to keep those together. Very pretty. So I would definitely recommend Crema sock, and for those that like heavier, they also have Crema worsted, and it would be in the same percentages. Their sizes do not affect how they make the yarn. So the Buttery worsted would be 100% superwash, the same as the Buttery Sport and Buttery bulky. And the same for Crema sock and Crema worsted. They're both 70% merino, 30% mulberry silk. And I have to tell you, I enjoyed working with it. It is silky, and I'm very happy with the result. As you know, I decided that this was an item, after I finished it, that I was going to keep for myself, because I love the feel of it. It's the first thing I did with beads, and I love these colors. These colors together turned out really well. So that's my review of yarns. I haven't done a review of yarns in quite a while. And I still have other, EFA yarns that I haven't reviewed. So maybe next month I'll review another one, because I have gotten away from doing reviews. But there's only so many yarns. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is what did I finish this week? Finished objects. So, get yourself out of there. Get your nose out. Yes, my co-host is wandering around the floor here. Okay, I said I would show you this again this week. So here we have it back again. This is the Keone shawl, again from Expression Fiber Arts, and done with Oasis fingering yarns. Now, I am going to put a picture in the corner, because there's no way I can show you the whole thing here. But if I I know I took a picture of it hanging on the wall, so you can see it spread out, how it looks. And I have some other pictures, I may put them in as well. And they're done with Oasis fingering. That's this bin. And in the past, I have done a review of Oasis fingering. It is one of my favorite yarns. It is 50% camel and 50% mulberry silk, and it has 500 yards in a skein. Now, I only showed you this briefly because I had not yet blocked it. I have to tell you, it blocked out wonderfully. I kind of knew it would block a fair bit, but it blocked more than I expected. I want to tell you about each section, and I want to show you how much I use. So let's start with, find the top here. The beginning was just a foundation, and use color 2 or B. So let's start with color 1. This is color 1. Remember, I used two of the colors from a kit, not the third one, and it was called Peony Hues, I believe. So this is color A. You see that I have a fair bit left over. I actually have 38 grams, which is about 190 yards. So I have quite a bit left over of this. And this section of the pattern, see, the 3 colors were 3 different patterns. And I'm hoping you can see, probably not, that this was a cross stitch. So you did 2, you skipped 1, you did 2 double crochets, and then you went back and crossed it into the skipped stitch. So the first section is cross stitches, and you do it one direction on the beginning of the row, and on the second half of the row you do mirror it the other way. And I will admit right here and now that I did it for one row and decided there wasn't enough, it didn't really matter. I know they were trying to get a perfect mirror image, but it was very frustrating doing it the backwards way because you had to reach behind, and I didn't think my stitches looked as nice. So I did it the same way on both sides of the point. I don't think it makes a whole heck of a lot of difference. You're still getting your cross stitches. And I enjoy a cross. I do like the cross stitch. Okay, color B, second part of the Peony Hues, is this color. Now, this one has 33 grams left, so a little bit less, which is about 165 yards. So 190, 165, We're up over 300, 350, which is as much as you get in some single skeins left. Now, in the second color, they did a stitch called the cone, and it was done by doing, I think it was a double and then reaching down below in the previous row and then pulling your yarn through all the loops. So you did it here and then you reach down below. They describe it in the pattern and they do a tutorial as well to show you. It's not a hard stitch. It's just different than the previous stitch. You can see they don't look the same. There's your cross stitches, there's your cone stitches. In between they have rows of plain double crochet. No, they have rows of plain single crochet. Anyhow, moving on to the third color, and I have the tag for it here. The third color I picked out of my stash. You helped me pick, and oh, that's a Peony Hues. I think it's called something nighttime. Well, I thought I saved it, and oh, there it is in the middle. It's called Winter Comfort, Oasis Hues, Oasis Fingering, and I have this much left. And put that back in there. And this time there are 28 grams. 28 grams is 140 yards. So I have enough in these three to put them together again, which I think I will do, and make something else, simpler, smaller, maybe just a plain asymmetrical triangle, more than enough for a cowl, because we have 38, 28, that's 66. We have about a whole skein here. We have 99 or 100 grams, and that's 500 yards in this kind of yarn. So it's plenty enough to make something fairly nice. And the last color, again a different stitch, much more open. It was fans with 2 double crochets, chain, and a single crochet all in one stitch. Now, it looked pretty crowded when I was doing it, but you can see it really, really opened up. Really opened up when I blocked it. So there is my finished object, which is really from the week before last, because I did have it finished last week. I just didn't have it blocked. But excuse me, I wanted to tell you more about it. So, and I really like this, and it's, excuse me. It's going in the mail to a friend. So I'll get that off this week. So that's that. All right. I have another finished object. It's funny, when I finished this, which was early last week, by the time I was taping, which was very early in the week, I was trying to put in time, waiting for the video where I show you the colors for the month in the bird. And I didn't want to get into a big project because I really wanted to start the monthly cowl project. So I was putzing around looking through things, and I don't recall ever, but I happened to look in a bag and I found a shawl that was only partially done. I don't remember when I started it. I don't know how it came to be, but I thought, this looks to be a long way towards finish, and it looks very simple, and I'm just going to finish it. So this is the shawl that I found, in one of my project bags. You can see it is not a pattern. It is just a number of rows of double crochet, and then you put in a window, and every so often it's also done in the back loop to give it a little bit of texture. And at the time when I found it, it had one ball and about a ball this big of the first ball. This is how much I had left of the 2 balls, and it is made with Mary Maxim's Prism. I'm sure a number of you have used this in the past or are familiar with it. And in 100 grams, it's 100% acrylic, so this can go in our donation box. It has 290 yards, and like I said, I used all but that much of 2 balls, so almost 600 yards. And what else can I tell you? It doesn't have, oh yes, it calls it a number 3 weight. So that's the weight, which sort of looks like my sport weight I showed you earlier. Like I said, it was close to number 3. Mary Maxim Prism reminds me a lot of Red Heart Unforgettable in the feel, although I think it's has a little more halo. I don't know if you can see the halo. See the halo on that? I don't recall Unforgettable having quite that much halo, but maybe it does. And also Lion Brand Landscape, they're similar. The weights are a bit different. I think Unforgettable will tell you it's a 4 weight, whereas this is a 3 weight. But it feels very nice, and again, it has kind of a silky feel. I don't know if you can see the halo on it. Yeah. It was very easy to work with. It does split a little bit. I was quite happy to spend a day and a half and finish this up. It's a whip. I didn't even list it. I couldn't find it in my listing for last year, so either it sat there longer than a year or I forgot to record it. But anyway, that is a finished object that I did last week. So I'll put that aside. It'll go up in the donation box when I'm done here. Then I was playing around. I was really eager to try out the yarn that I got from Adam. So I did get it out and play with it a bit, but I don't have enough done. I decided to put it aside because I was working. You know, that's not like me, but I was working on 2 things at once. And I decided I would hold off on the one to Adam, and I would come back at it and work at it again until I got a pattern I was really happy with. I did finally do that, but I haven't done much on it, so I'm going to save it for next week. We'll see the yarn that Adam sent me next week. So I had been over the previous week looking for a yarn that I knew I had, and I wanted to make a shawl out of it. And at the point when I was looking for it, I was wanting to get a shawl made for the upcoming craft show. I think I told you that in June there was a craft show coming, and I was going to participate in it, so I could do my summer shawls in that and do the heavier wintry stuff for the November one. I couldn't find the yarn, and I, for the life of me, couldn't figure out why it wasn't where I was looking, and I'll get back to that in just a second. But in the process of trying to get things done, and I came to a conclusion that I don't want to go in the June craft show. It's not a huge one. Yes, I did all right in it last year, but it is 2 very long days of sitting. It is a lot of work carting the stuff over there, and I was feeling pressured, really pressured. to get certain things done. And of course, you know, I have to do my monthly cal, and I was, of course, at that time still busy on my mood board, this project here, and I just felt pressured. And this is supposed to be an enjoyable hobby or craft, and I just decided I could take the pressure off myself and not have to get certain things done in time. I wasn't going to get them all done anyway, so I just decided I'm not going to go in the June one, and I'm going to concentrate on being happy with the fall one that works well. So I stopped needing to find that yarn that I was going to make a shawl for that show. Well, then funny thing, I came across a picture. I'm going to put it up here, and this is a picture of my Make 9. So I'm going to talk about my Make 9 for a bit. In seeing that picture for my Make 9, I then saw that yarn I had been looking everywhere for. I couldn't find it where it should be because it was in my box of things for my Make 9. Okay, I felt kind of silly, but then I didn't remember everything I had put in this box. And it's funny because I have been thinking about my Make 9 lately, and first thing I thought was, you know, I haven't done anything from my Make 9 box, and here it is May. I mean, I got 9 things I gotta make, and I was gonna do one a month. I'm going to have to do more than one a month. So in looking at my Make 9, I made a decision I needed to get going on it. And since I had been looking for that particular yarn, I said, what the heck, pull out that yarn. In the picture, it is the purple cone from Stenley, along with some mohair. So you can see it in the picture, and I decided to pull it out. Now, Stenley, I'll tell you about the yarn first. The Stenley yarn is, there's the Stenley logo, and this happens to be a souffle, and it is 85% cotton, 15% polyester, and there are 900 meters in the cone. I did not use the entire cone. I started at the outside and worked in. I wish now I'd started at the inside and worked out, so I would have used more of this dark color. But I thought, as I was working toward, I'll tell you all my thought processes. I thought I would get all the way to the end. I cut out this much gray, which is what it starts with. And then when it got into the purple, there's the purple and gray mix, I cut out that much of that. Then it got into the plain purple, and I cut out that much, trying to get, you know, all the way through the ball. Because with this, I was also using this mohair. And this is Elise Kid Mohair, and it is, I think it's 62% kid mohair and 38% polyamide. I used all of the first ball, and I have this much. I was using it from the outside, so I probably used close to, not quite, half of the second one. But this is very fine. And you know that when you, I don't know if how many of you have used mohair, but when you use mohair with your yarn, it tends to mute it a bit. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll use it on the light, and when I get to the middle, I happen to come across this in my stash, and I thought, okay, I'll use this on the gray and light mauve, and when I get to the dark mauve, I'll use this. Well, it was a great idea, and I got started. I'll show you the shawl in just a minute. And then I eventually got to the darker part, which never got as dark as I wanted. And I pulled this out to use with it anyway. And I find out that this is much heavier than this one. I think you can see that on my hands. The darker one is much heavier, and that's because this is not mohair and polyamide. This is alpaca silk. Now, do they give me the breakdown? Yes, 77% alpaca, 23% silk. And I don't know how much is in here. 153 yards in one of these donuts, and I only used part of the donut, but I did use it because I decided it was getting darker, and if I kept using this, you would not get the feel of the darker color. And then I stopped and I took from the center to finish it off, and I used the dark and the dark together. I don't know if it looks silly or what, but I still have all of this left along with those 3 balls I showed you. And here is the shawl. It is called Lunar Crossings by Kim Gutzman, I think. I'll put her name, I'll put the link to the pattern on Ravelry in the description box below. And here you can see it starts out with gray, and then it gets to the, you know how they change slowly, it gets to the purple and gray, and then it gets to all purple, the lighter color purple, and there we are finally at all purple. And then it starts changing the light purple with the dark purple. I think you can see the dark purple coming through. And I thought, we're never going to get to the end, and this is a big shawl. I'll show you. There's the dark purple coming through, but it doesn't look very dark because it still is using this mohair, which tones it down. So I finally said, I'm going to jump, and I did the light and dark purple with a row of the dark purple alpaca, and then I did the dark in the center, and I got this at the end. Now this is a 6-row repeat in the pattern. It's a very straightforward pattern, easy to memorize. And here is, let me back up, here is the finished shawl. I still have a few ends to weave in, but there it is. And what I will do, since I finished this minutes before I set up to do my videotaping, that's why the ends are still hanging. So I will, after I'm done this video, I will hang it on the wall, and I will take a picture, and you can see I will not block this. I don't tend to block these cotton ones. It is big enough. It's my wingspan, so we're close to 6 feet across, and we're quite long. I will hang it on the wall, take a picture so you can see the whole thing, and it gradually changes color. I think you can see that. I kind of wish maybe that I'd skipped the gray altogether, just cut the gray out and started with the light purple. Then I would have got a lot more dark purple in the end, which, as you know, I would, my favorite color is purple, so I would have liked that better. Even down here, it looks more grayish, but it is definitely purple. So that's another finished object. It's called Lunar Crossings, and it's on Ravelry. I paid for a pattern on Ravelry, and I did finish that like this afternoon. So I did get some things finished, but while I was doing this and digging in that box, I've decided that I need to get busy on this Make 9 box. So This one I really want to do, but this one is going to be heavier. It's going to wait till the fall. And this one is a sweater. Again, we'll wait till the fall. But I want to do something with this very soon, like maybe in the month of June. I really, really like that. So I have a number of patterns that use two colors. I'm going to look through them and find one that makes me happy. But I thought in the meantime, I wanted to use my zebra striped yarn, and I had a whole bunch in a lot of different colors, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And this says worsted, and then it says 200 yards. Well, I have to guess she made a mistake because she crossed out fingering to worsted and forgot to change. So this probably has 220 yards. This one is bigger, but I have a lot of other colors. This one is 400. I'm thinking that I just want to see what a zebra stripe works out to look like. So I think I'm just going to pick a very bland type of cowl for the winter that would look good with worsted. I would make a hat, but I'm not into hats. So I think I'm going to try and see if this makes a nice size cowl. And maybe in the next week, I'm going to work this up just to see how it looks. And then maybe that'll get me into some of my other zebra stripes. So that'll get a second one done, and that'll be a third in June, and I'll have 6 more to go, and I'll have half the year, so I'll be able to hopefully finish this. My problem is coming up with ideas for this yarn, but I'll be back to you asking for help in deciding on patterns for some of that yarn. All right, so that's finished objects and my yarn review. And now I want to show you an acquisition. I knew this was on the way. You know that I showed you a number of, get this out here, a number of yarn subscriptions, and I've already canceled one and haven't decided about another, but I'm almost sure I'm going to cancel it as well. So far I am keeping color of my fiber, and I made the order for May on the weekend, so I'm sure it'll come in a week. She hasn't mailed it yet, and then it takes 3, 4, 5 days to get here, so another week or so. If we're lucky, it might be here next week. So anyway, I did want to try this other one, and that's why I'm canceling some of them. And it is from Sweet Georgia Yarns. Now, I've had some yarn from Sweet Georgia Yarns. I can't find where it is, so it must be in the mix of Canadian. But I do remember liking what I got from them in the past, so I wanted to try their subscription. And I have to be honest, I don't know if it was you had a choice of 1 or 2 hanks, or if it automatically had 2 hanks. I don't know why I think it automatically had 2 hanks, but I could be wrong. But it came in this box. It just has addresses on the front. Opened up, and this is what you see inside. So this is telling you all about the yarn, and it kind of shows you the color. They talk about the color and what it's based on. And this is called Life of Plants. So it has to do with plants, and that suggests the color. And then it's got this tissue, and I removed the tissue, and you can see the yarn in here, comes along with a bottle of soak. And you know we can all make use of that. I have a bottle of Eucalan upstairs, but I actually give out samples of soap when I send people prizes. So let's see. I did read all of this, by the way. It's, cardstock, quite a bit of an explanation of May and the process. This is called Cash Lux Fine. I'll talk about that in a minute. Talks about the story, how they come up with the name, and they give you project ideas, like kinds of things you can make. They have a club you can join, and so on. So that is Sweet Georgia. Secret Stash is the name of their, I think it's the name of their subscription box. I will put a link to Sweet Georgia Yarns below, or maybe I'll link right to this. You have the option to get one or to get recurring, and I signed up for recurring, I'm pretty sure. So let me tell you about this yarn. First of all, look at those greens. All kinds of greens that you would see in May out there when your grass is growing and the new plants are coming out. And it feels yummy, and I'll tell you why. By the way, there's the name, Life of Plants. This is, oh, I think it's on the front, yes. It is 70% superwash merino and 20% cashmere and 10% nylon. So it's a MCN yarn. And it feels like there's cashmere in it. This feels really nice. And there are 384 meters or 420 yards. So that's about the same as my cash silk, except that it's silk, not nylon. This is nylon. This feels really nice. Not the first color I would go out and buy, but it is very nice. And I think it would make something like a asymmetrical triangle shawl. Be very nice. They say to alternate them. I'm thinking that maybe I make them in two different things. You know how it happened when I didn't alternate them in my last project, and I didn't like it. But alternating them is such a pain in the butt. So I think I'll use each of them with something else, but they just feel wonderful. So far I am very happy with this subscription, and I intend to keep getting it for a little while. We'll see what the colors are like. Next month being June, I bet you get something like a variegated blue or something summery. So I have another acquisition, but it's going to wait till next week. It's waited for a couple of weeks now, and I'm getting a little more from that company, so I'll do it all at once. So I have only one last thing I want to show you. I have been ordering less. I think you notice I'm showing less, and EFA is the only one I order from regularly, but I've even kind of slowed down there. But they came out with a free pattern, I'm going to say about 3 weeks ago, and it was a pattern that used 3 colors, but it used 2 skeins of one of the colors. Those of you that watch EFA and get the patterns, maybe you can help me out. I don't remember what the pattern was even. A wrap of some sort or a shawl. But anyway, they were showing kits they had put together. I did not really, probably it was a knitted pattern. I wasn't keen on it. But I went and looked at the yarns. That was my mistake. And part of the reason I like it so much is that the yarn kits, this particular pattern used Oasis fingering. Well, I just showed you something in Oasis fingering, and I love it. And I love their Oasis fingering. I have practically a full bin of it. But wait till you see this. Now it has to come in 4. It is a kit that they have curated, and I got double of one color. I would only have bought 3, not double of the 4th color. And it is called Droplets of Dew. And you will understand why I had to buy it. Look at it. My goodness. This, I got 2 of this one. Too bad they hadn't put 2 of that one in it. Then I could have done this. and the other one with another purple. But anyway, here is the first one. They don't have individual names. There's the first one. There are two of that. Then here is the speckled one. Oh, I love it. I love it, love it. And then here is the third one, purple with a little bit of a charcoal color in there as well. Now, my thinking is that I will likely find, I don't often make things with three. Now, I could go looking and find something that needed three colors and put all three together, because I do like all three together, and I will check out that option first. If I do these three together, then I'll have this one left that could be in a single skein, or I have some patterns where it has a solid color and it has a complementary color beside it. And I wouldn't mind doing that. I could put something beside it that went with it, because I have a number of busy ones that I hope I could find something to go with it. So I very likely will do that. But if I can't find something for three I really like, I could also make this into a big item with the two, and another with just these two. You can tell why I could not pass up this kit. I love the three of these together, so I'm gonna try. EFA has a number of shawls that use three colors, so I'm probably going to start looking there, and probably I'll be able to find a shawl that needs these three. Now remember, Oasis fingering is 50% camel and 50% mulberry silk, and it has 500 yards in it, and it feels dreamy, and it will block out beautifully. So I'm thinking that this summer I may just make this. Towards the end of the summer, I'll make it for myself as a birthday present. As you know, September is both my birthday and my podiversary. We will be celebrating big time when it comes. And I love these colors so much. I want to jump in and start working on them right now, today. But I'm going to restrain myself and put them back in the bag, and maybe later in the summer, because I definitely have to finish the May item, which I haven't started yet, and I want to finish what I'm working on with Adam's yarn, which I will have done for next week. And I want to get back into that Make 9 box and pull something out of there to make. And then I'm going to start using all these yummy yarns. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, and I forgot, when I was showing you the shawl that I just finished, on my way to bring it down and bring the little balls, I picked up the hook to show you the hook I was using, and it fell on the floor, even though I grabbed for it. And once again, I have a broken hook. But I used a number 4 on this pattern. Bad news. But anyway, it turned out okay. I'd like to know if you think this looks okay. I meant to ask. With just this thin border, I do have enough yarn in both. I could put more rows on it, although it is a very large shawl already. So you can tell me what you think about that. So, the only thing I can promise is that I will have a finished object for next week, maybe even 2. And I have a yarn acquisition to show you. And I'm going to talk just the going to talk just a teeny bit about the fiber festival we're going to next weekend. And I'm glad I remembered to say something, because if there are any of you that are in the Toronto region that watch my program and are thinking of going to Knit City, Toronto, which is 10 days away, less than 10 days away, I would appreciate knowing you could contact me and maybe we can make plans to get together. Maybe go for supper after the show or just say hello and sit and crochet for a few minutes. I would love to know if you are going and we could meet up. So until next week, happy hooking.